Ben Shapiro is world renowned for his sometimes controversial political statements. However, he has made some quite interesting and or funny quotes during his speeches and conferences. And in today's video, we'll be taking a look at just that. With that being said, let's dive straight into the video. Number 1. I would not want to be within 100 miles of these folks. In this clip, Ben Shapiro on his show The Daily Wire is talking about MTV releasing a video on New Year's resolutions for some American males. Shapiro thought this was tacky and just overall an extremely bad video. Take a look.
The other thing that came out over the last couple of days is, of course, this insane video from MTV. So MTV released a video of a bunch of people who you would never want to associate with in real life. Like people who, you just look at them and how smug and self-satisfied they are, and you think, I would not want to be within 100 miles of these folks. MTV released a video of resolutions for white guys for 2017. They're telling you what your resolutions should be, because there's nothing more ideologically fascistic than telling other people what they should aspire to.
As you can see, Shapiro isn't too happy that MTV is basically telling people what their resolution should be, and he keeps going on about how this is ideologically fascist. Let's just say that Ben isn't a big fan of this video.
In the coming year, here's MTV informing you. Remember when MTV used to put on music videos? Remember that? Yeah, not anymore. This is what it is now.
It's about to be a new year.
And there's a few things we think you could do a little bit better in 2017.
First off, try to recognize that America was never great for anyone who wasn't a white guy.
Can we all just agree that Black Lives Matter isn't the opposite of All Lives Matter?
Okay, so I love that the first gal gets up and says, can we agree America was never great for anyone who wasn't a white male?
Number 2. Gender is not disconnected from sex. Here we have a clip in which Shapiro was doing a Q&A with some people, and he was asked about something that he said previously about how transgender people are just pretending to be a different sex. And this is what Shapiro had to say for himself.
Oh, but gender is a completely different thing.
No, gender is not disconnected from sex, so.
It's not completely disconnected, but it's still a cultural thing, it's still from society.
Okay, no, it is not in the mind, okay? You're not a man if you think you're a man. And I didn't say pretending, or if I did, I shouldn't have said pretending, let me amend.
You said playing.
Okay, I said a boy who thinks he's a girl. That's the usual phraseology I use. Not playing. I usually say a boy who thinks he's a girl or a girl who thinks he's a boy, which is technically what we're talking about here. As far as the actual psychological issues at play, it used to be called gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder. Now they call it gender dysphoria. The idea that sex or gender are malleable is not true. Okay?
Ben doubles down and continues defending what he had said previously. He said that although he may have worded it poorly, his argument still stands, and his point is that a man can't just pretend to be a woman and vice versa.
And I'm not denying your humanity if you're a transgender person. I am saying that you are not the sex to which you claim to be. You're still a human being, and you're a human being with an issue that I wish you Godspeed in dealing with in whatever way you see fit. But if you are going to dictate to me that I'm supposed to pretend that men are women and women are men, no. My answer is no. I'm not going to modify basic biology because it threatens your subjective sense of what you are.
Number 3. That's not true. A quote said by many people, but in this case it was Ben Shapiro when he was talking about immigration on a show called Politicking. He said this to a fellow interviewee who was making an argument that involved the Republican Party, claiming that they have no path to citizenship.
Wait a second here. Now, first, I don't think that border security and a pathway to citizenship are mutually exclusive. Those two things can happen simultaneously at the same time,
Why?
And that is the compromise. That is the place of compromise for Democrats and Republican, Larry. They can happen at the same time. We can build a fence, we can build a wall, we can build electric fence if that's what they want, but at the same time, we need to provide a pathway to citizenship for those 11 million that are in the shadows. The Republican Party's problem is they cannot get a pathway through citizenship out of the United States House of Representatives, whether they like it or not, whether we beef up the border.
Ben is claiming that closing down the American border could have some changes in American citizenship, while his fellow interviewee is disagreeing. Ben continues to relentlessly try to see if he can win this argument about the United States border.
Or not, whether we put Marine Team 6 on the border, they would still not be able to pass a pathway to citizenship.
That's simply not true. If you secured the border, people
would
pass the pathway to citizenship.
Count the votes.
I promise you, I know the Republican Party pretty well, and if you were to secure the border, then you would be able to pass a pathway to citizenship. You would.
Why can't those happen? Why are those two things mutually exclusive?
Why are they connected?
Because if we're dealing with immigration as a total issue. They're not separate issues.
Of course they're separate issues, because the fact is that if you do not... Okay,
it's
fine.
all about...
Number 4. The finger. This isn't a quote, but rather a statement that Shapiro made without the use of words. He was giving a speech when this group of protesters stormed into the room and started chanting. Shapiro was having none of it, and he made a pretty memorable statement.
Do you know me? Do I know you? Like, how do you know anything about me? Why am I a white supremacist?
So after this group of protesters barged in without permission and interrupted what Shapiro was saying, he wasn't too thrilled, and well, he flipped off the protesters. And apparently his crowd approved because they were chanting and rooting for him. Number 5. If human beings are flawed, that's because the system is flawed. This was a quote that Ben Shapiro was refuting when he was giving a speech in which he discussed human nature. He said that a certain group of people want you to believe that, but it's not actually true.
When it comes to human nature, the left doesn't believe that human beings are capable of great good or great evil. The left believes that if human beings are flawed, that's because the system is flawed. The system has made people bad. Right? This is what Marxism suggests. Marxism suggests that you're all widgets, and you're just a product of the evil capitalist system. So if you do something bad, then that's because capitalism made you that way. The free markets made you that way. Freedom made you that way. Thus, we have to overthrow it and build a fairer world. Human beings are bad because of Western civilization, which is evil, and was founded in racism and sexism.
After refuting this quote, Shapiro keeps talking about how America was founded on racism, and that it's from that racism that all the other problems that America faces come from. Take a look for yourself.
And bigotry. Western civilization, you hear very often, is founded irredeemably on white supremacy. The reason that you have bad people, the reason you have individual races is because society broadly is racist. America is founded on this racism. And that white supremacy, that's what causes crime and poverty and inequality, not the fact that human beings do good things and do bad things, not the fact that some human beings commit crimes. No, the society at large is responsible for that, because if society were perfect, if you had a utopia, that would change the nature of human beings.
So we all know that Ben Shapiro is a pretty outspoken guy, and that shows from the fact that he doesn't care about other people's opinions of him. He always stands strong and fights for what he believes. Anyways, that brings us to the end of this video. If you want more videos just like this, then consider liking and subscribing. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.